What's up everybody, OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at a game that is literally 20 plus years in the making, but in a little bit of a different way, right? So we have Trials of Mana. I know a lot of you guys have heard a little bit about this game. Some of you guys know a lot about it, but I wanted to go over a little bit of the history of the game, then get into my impressions now that I'm 5 to 10 hours, somewhere in that range. I don't exactly know where I am in terms of my playtime, but I'm at the beginning of the game, but I have my 3 characters and I'm going forth in the story. So let's go ahead and start off a little bit with the history. This game was originally released back in September 30th, 1995 in Japan. It never got a release on the Super Nintendo in Western areas. So the Super Famicom got the game, but it was never released on that system. Now, some odd, 20 plus years later, the game came out again on the Collection of Mana in Japan in 2017. Now, here in the West, we didn't get that in 2017. We had to wait all the way till E3 2019 to finally get the Collection of Mana in terms of the release here in the West. So it was a very interesting track that this game has, but they didn't just stop right there. They also announced that they're going to be remaking the original Trials of Mana from the Super Famicom onto the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and also PC. So it was something that was completely unexpected and literally blew me out of my own seat when I saw it back at E3 2019. So I'm very happy that they decided to remake the game, and unlike the Secret of Mana remake that was in 2018 that was really low quality, this one seems to get a nice bump up from using Unreal Engine 4 and just paying more attention to detail when it comes to the graphics, gameplay, and more. So I'm very excited about that, or at least I was very excited, and now that we have the game in our hands, I think that this is definitely worth the wait for the most part. Now, let's talk about the story first. I don't like to go too much in depth into the story because I don't want any spoilers or anything like that, but essentially you have 6 different warriors that you can pick from. They all specialize in whatever classes that they're strong in, whether it's healing or magic or physical attacks, and they all come from certain areas, but at some point, whatever 3 companions you pick, their stories will intertwine, all leading up to the Mana Sword and how mana is conducted throughout this world. The Mana Stones are withering, the land is getting weaker, and more monsters are appearing everywhere, and you must save the land by getting the Mana Sword. And for each respective character, they each have their own stories and backstories that you can play flashbacks, and you can kind of see exactly what happened to them and why they're on their quest that they are on to get the Mana Sword and to stop whatever evil presences that are out there. So it's actually a pretty set story, standard, nothing too crazy, but at the same time, definitely entertaining so far, playing the backstories and seeing what's going on there. So I'm enjoying the story, and I do like how everything is kind of shaped up. Now, when it comes to the graphics and presentation, the one thing that people are really going to talk about with this game is the English voiceovers, and I'll admit they're definitely not the best.
Oh no! What did you do to Heat?
But I guess I come from the era of Resident Evil 1 and horrible voice acting to where I don't think it's too bad with the English voice acting. Now, I know some people might disagree with that, but I just personally feel that it's not too bad. And you honestly get used to it considering the graphical style and presentation that this game does have to offer. But here's the cool thing. They have Japanese voiceovers too. So if you want to listen to it in Japanese with the voice actors, you can definitely do so. Where voice acting is usually higher quality when it comes to some of the lower end, not like the huge AAA type of games. So you can always just do that. Now, in terms of graphics, I think this game is pretty good. I mean, obviously it's not going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake type of quality, or it's not up to like a Xenoblade, for example, when it comes to detail and land environments, but it's still really good for a game that's not full priced. I think that they did a much better job in terms of graphics than what they did with the Secret of Mana remake, and this one's running on Unreal Engine 4 as well on the Switch, PlayStation 4, PC. So I think that it holds up graphically well. Not the craziest amount of detail when it comes to enemies compared to the characters. I think that like Duran and Angela and Charlotte and the characters, at least those are the 3 that I'm using. There's 3 other characters as well. They have great detail with them. They look great. The presentation looks very solid, even on the Nintendo Switch. But the enemy detail in terms of just like the regular bad guys, those could have been a lot better. Those could have been sharpened up just a bit more. But overall, it's not bad considering that the enemies in the Trials games or enemies in the mana games, to say more like it, have always had more of a simplistic design, cute, bubbly, but at the same time will bite the hell out of you if like you get near them or they'll poison you. So I think it's pretty good, but of course they could have went a little bit more, but this is not a full price type of AAA graphics type of thing. I think that they wanted to get just a good, solid, graphically clean presentation when it comes down to it, and an improvement over what they did with the Secret of Mana remake, which honestly had a horrible art style and did not look that great in my opinion. So they definitely improved upon that, and I think that the presentation is clean and good graphically on all systems that you're playing it on. And let's go ahead and move into the most important thing here, and that is gameplay. And this is where I would say Trials of Mana shines. Out of anything that it does, it shines here. They've added so many things from like the original, right? The original did not have so many different things that this game was added in. So for example, you have weak attacks and you also have strong attacks. You have area attacks. You have dodging that they put into the game. You have air combat that they put into the game. You have charge attacks that they put into the game. You have the visual area in terms of how enemies attack. So there's a strategic element to, okay, this person's about to throw this dart or about to throw this axe in this trajectory. So I have to make sure that I get out of the way, or I can do an attack and it's going to hit this area. So there's so many cool things that they added into the gameplay, especially if you played the original on the Nintendo Switch or if you played it on the Super Nintendo, PC, whether you played the ROM with the English voice acting. There's so many upgrades to the combat system. It keeps things fresh. And one of the things that I love about the system here is that you can change characters at any point and control them. So if you want to use your second companion or your third companion, no problem at all. You just press the RZ, I think on the Nintendo Switch. I'm looking at my controller here. Yeah, you press the RZ on the Nintendo Switch, or it's probably like R2 on the PS4, and bam, you just switch over, no problem at all. And that's mid-combat, that's out of battle. Pretty much the only time that you can't is when you're in towns, because your other two companions are hanging out in other places, so you can go talk to them. But when you're in the battle, it's no problem at all. When you're in the field, when you're out there, just no problem. Just press the button and you switch automatically. You can also set up strategic parameters for your characters too. So when you're not controlling them, you can set up how they act. You can control a variety of ways in terms of the AI. So I think that's also really cool too, because nothing's worse than having dumb AI or AI that does something that you don't want them to do. So you can customize the AI to the point to where it's exactly the way that you want them to play, whether you want them to heal a lot, using magic, don't use magic, don't heal, use certain attacks. It's pretty solid as well. So I do like that too. And also the class system in terms of what they did and adding that in is fantastic. Being able to change classes to get stronger, which will be further down in the game. But it's amazing what they've done here. You know, even when you're playing in combat, right? All the sound effects and how you can get the bonus experience based on how well you fight, right? If you don't get hit, how fast you defeat the battle, you can get big boosts to your experience and level up quicker in order to take your class points anytime that you do level up and put them into different stats. So you can get new abilities, you can get better like HP, you can also get new skills, and you can equip those as well. Of course, just like any typical action RPG or RPG out there, you have all of your weapons and different types of gear that you can purchase or you can find, or heck, you can even grow them in trees by getting item seeds from enemy drops. So there's a lot of variety in terms of how you level up, how you get gear, and what you do in the game. So it's a very solid game. I think they did a great job with this remake, and I really hope that they continue on with these old school Super Nintendo type of remakes, and the Mana series finally gets the respect that it deserves, because I do think that it's a great game, whatever system you're playing it on. I will say that there are some differences though, so for those who have PC or PlayStation 4, this impressions that I'm doing it is based on the Nintendo Switch version of the game. The PlayStation 4 and the PC version run at 60 frames per second, whereas the Switch version runs at 30 frames per second. And I haven't noticed too many dips within combat, but sometimes when there's like a lot of enemies on screen, it doesn't seem like it's running exactly at 30 frames. Maybe it's a bit below. I can't exactly tell where it's at, but it's not too bad to the point to where it completely janks your game, or you can't really control it, or you're having input issues or anything like that. It's still very much playable, but the frame rate on the Nintendo Switch is not as high as it is on the PlayStation 4. So it would have been nice if they're able to get it up to that 60 frames per second, because I do think the Switch could do that, but apparently they didn't have enough time or resources or whatever the case is. But it does run at a solid 30 most of the time from what I can tell, maybe with a few dips here and there if there's like a ton of enemies on screen. But overall, still runs solid on the Nintendo Switch, so you can make your decision based off of the demo, right? Because there is a demo on the PlayStation 4, there's also a demo on the Nintendo Switch, and you can pick up it where you feel that, you know, you would like to play it. Personally, for me, having the ability to play Mana portably while I'm watching another stream or while I'm editing or whatever the case is, or while it's rendering more like it, is actually enough for me to get it on the Nintendo Switch. But I definitely want to check out the PlayStation 4 version. I'll probably pick that up once we get back to normal and I can just go to the store and buy it, because Square Enix didn't ship many copies of this game, especially on the PlayStation 4. There's barely any physical copies of this game anywhere because of the current CV pandemic. So what do you guys think about Trials of Mana so far? This is just my initial impressions. I might have a follow-up video kind of going more in depth once I beat the game or get very close to beating the game. I'll probably do more, but so far so good. I definitely think it's a solid game, and for many places you can actually find it for $40 instead of the $50. Like if you go to Walmart, for example, they'll have it for $40. You might be able to price match somewhere else. So good stuff all around. So what are you guys' thoughts on Trials of Mana? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description. We've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow on there and stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.